entangled you are with it. So, that sort of addresses or resolves the problem of spooky action at a distance, of, simultaneous communication between non-local things. We're not looking at this from above. We're not looking at this from the necessary next dimensional perspective in order to understand synchronicity, simultaneity, as fundamental, as original, as essential to the fabric of the manifestation of cosmos, and how that is that we then have a landscape of time in which we're able to see these little circularities, the cycles of the magical and the mythical. But those are like the eddies in a river. That river is that continuity of linear time. Everyone talks about the flow of time, the river of time, the arrow of time. Time flies like an arrow, flies like a banana. But the river's on a landscape. There's not just one river. There's all rivers, and there's a water cycle. And it's not just one cycle, it's not just one thing, but it is a triple circularity of the Gaian organisms, atmosphere and water and earth. So our understanding of time is moving out of this, like if you look at brutalist architecture of the mid-20th century, these brick, these concrete boxes, we're like, this is us asserting our control over nature. I, designed this perfect square. And we're moving into a space where we understand through the technological metaphor that technology is actually an ecology. And so that is what it encourages us or empowers us to regard ecology as a technology, to participate in this manifestation. And in so doing, we awaken to a landscape in which it's not just about what was and what is, but, disturbingly, what might have been and what will be. That our history becomes ever more dubious and less certain as we become more and more humble with respect to the mystery of our admitted ignorance. We have all of these competing narratives jostling for power, jostling for social control in this world. How are we going to, we're going to win, Well, it's not that simple. It's like, there is a place for every one of these things within this Russian nested doll of stories that embrace other stories, and we're never done. And we resolve a paradox by adding a dimension and seeing, for example, like, if you were to pose a question as a triangle, the answer would be a tetrahedron. Two people have a disagreement, so they call in a third party to mediate. This same structure is bringing us into this both and integrated resolution of all of the problems that are confusing us right now are going to be resolved by stepping fully into a tantric embrace of all of them. Yes, we are creating a horrible ecological catastrophe in the world. But at the same time, that's not entirely fair, because that story pits us on one end of a human nature dyad, a duality that doesn't really exist. We're something the planet is doing. So all of this death and destruction is something that is going on of its own accord, as automatically as your own heartbeat. And our solutions are equally as automatic, to the extent that we believe that we are participating in this intentionally. That intention arises, as philosopher Galen Strawson points out, from a matrix that free will emerges from a matrix of conditions, that every choice is conditioned. And so we're not really truly free to choose. That free will is bound, but so again is determinism, because we all experience choice. And the closer you look at a deterministic system, the more your initial measurement errors explode into total unpredictability, which is why meteorology and market predictions are such a pain in the ass. Which is why predicting the future is such a pain in the ass. Because of that butterfly effect, right? It's not so much just that the butterfly causes the hurricane on the other side of the planet through the magnification of its wing flapping. But that we didn't work the butterfly into the equation. We can't see that low. We'll never be able to see all the way down to the bottom of it, or all the way out. So our sense of time is erupting into an ecosystem of narratives rather than a single dominant story. And it's upon us to understand how to make sense of this, especially in a world like, I brought this up during Eric Davis's talk yesterday. I've been writing some science fiction about what I consider the end of reality. It's very concerning to me. Artificial intelligence is now at the point where we're very close to being able to convincingly forge video and audio of each other. That you can put something on the news that would 10 years ago have been admissible evidence. Oh, well, clearly this person said this to this person and that's all happening. Nowadays, you pick up the phone and there's nobody on the other end of the line. There's a good chance that someone is recording your voice in order to feed it into a conversational synthesizer so that they can replicate your voice for vocal recognition algorithms and steal your identity. When this happens, we're kind of up shit creek, right? Because the things that we understood as solid are no longer solid. And so you can see this transition as a phase transition from our ability to agree upon one common reality to our need to come together in a humble inquiry as to how deep our consensus can actually reach. This that Kevin Kelly says in his book, The Inevitable, that as the cost of answers through search engines approaches zero, as it gets easier and easier to learn the ostensible facts about the world, that the cost of questions escalates in the inverse proportion, that asking the right questions is the most valuable thing that we can do right now. And so we're at this pivot point where we're moving out of history and into an investigation of time, of reality, of landscape, of each other. So who has questions? We're gonna dovetail this directly into Bruce Damer's talk. And then I'm gonna walk over here to this little green tent and I'm gonna chat and continue this with anyone who would like to. I'm also gonna pass this clipboard around. There are stickers also, if you would like a sticker. I would love to stay in touch with you. I run the Future Fossils podcast. I'm playing music out here. I'm an artist. I do things. I love to share them with you people, because you're me and all of that. But if anyone has any questions, I'd love to hear them now so that we can get them on record, because this is being recorded. And, the ancient cities we're populated by fewer people than are currently studying them now. So ask a question for all of the unborn children. And come up if you can. Come up here so we can run you a mic if you have a question.
Michael, set it up.
There's going to be a stand over here. Thank you. I'm tossing this out. I hope it makes it to you. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. Just take a moment to say, if you're curious about what this sounds like in the form of song, I'm playing music at 11 p.m. at the Village Witches on Sunday with my friend Madeline Moondrop singing backup vocals. So I hope you'll be there, but if you're not, I understand, and I will record it and I will send it to you if you leave me your information. What's up?
Hello. Hey, so it's cool that you mentioned Kevin Kelly, a friend recently, kind of abandoned him. His belief that everything is technology and everything is the same, kind of the we are star stuff concept. And I'm wondering, bringing that specifically into this event and the concept of the eclipse, do you personally, and based on your background and your knowledge, does the astronomical alignment of the planets and the moon, the sun, and Earth, does that necessarily represent a paradigm shift in culture and in physiology and idea of what's going to happen in the future, or what has happened in the past based on